How to switch from a general practice, pain treatments, etc., to specialized internal conditions like thyroid or fertility. All right, here's what I'd say. If you got something that's working, don't turn it off just yet. Right? It's better to have your thing going and then phase your next thing on top. And then as this takes off and has legs and it's like super reliable and has outpaced the other thing, then you can decide to let this go. Right? Always better to kind of phase something in on top than to just drop off and then be like, shit, I gotta make this work, right? So that's my one big caveat for this stuff. Don't do anything dramatic. Give yourself time, give yourself grace to let this transition emerge naturally, because you're gonna find your skill gaps. They're gonna start to be exposed as you go into this new area. And by skill gaps, I mean your ability to attract new people, do marketing, your ability to sell stuff, right? To be able to communicate what it is you're selling, to be able to package up what it is you're selling, to be able to even create like the program, the clinical clarity, all the stuff that required to do the work and deliver on your promises of what you're trying to help the people with. All those things require skills. Of course, we speed all that up here in our program and in our events, and that's why we exist here, right? Is to help get that moving for you. But you got to be able to develop all those skills before you're kind of hanging out on a limb, if possible, right? So there's that. The other thing is to start thinking outside the four walls of your clinic, because if you have a certain practice where it's like a lot of people coming in with orthopedics and kind of a general practice thing, and you want to be specialized in thyroid or fertility or whatever it is, complex chronic issues, you know, all these things, skin conditions, digestive issues. I mean, there's tons. You could pick something. It's going to be fascinating. You're going to help a lot of people, whatever it is, right? But if you want to specialize in that, guess where's a great place? The internet. Best place to find people that have gnarly problems and need help. It's the best place. Because there's going to be people in your town, of course, there'll be some, or your city or whatever, that need your help, and you can help them, and you should. And one of the ways we handle this is by doing hybrid models, so that the people coming in locally also have access to your online program. You put them in a high-ticket annual membership, or whatever the terms are, and they have access to your program as well as your hands-on treatments. And as that program gets really good and reliable and dependable, all of a sudden you can take that online, and now you can be enrolling people. I mean, like I did with Modern Vitality, I had people all over the place. UK, Germany, Denmark, Netherlands, whatever. You get people all over coming in, and they will find you because you're now an expert. It's amazing. So it's definitely worth doing. So how do I do this? Well, I've got like 100 hours of training in the program or something like that on how to do this, plus, you know, summit events and ask questions along the way in the group and all that. I can't really say how to do every single thing for every single person in this little video, but the general gist of it is you will need to architect out a clinical clarity process so you know how to help the people with the specialty that you are choosing. That may mean taking the tools and the pearls that you've already learned and then organizing them logically so that you know kind of how to compartmentalize different ones and how to guide people through an algorithm so that the right people can find the right treatments for them, right? The right modalities, the right tools, the right formulas, whatever it is. Because not everybody, you don't want the one size fits all thing that's fragile. And I mean, people are sophisticated. They got a real problem that requires specialization. They're going to know that there's not one size fits all because they would have found it already, you know? So you've got to have a flexible and dynamic adaptive treatment algorithm so you can actually help the people get what they need out of your skill set. And you can do this. You can systematize it. That's what we do. It's part of clinical clarity. That's the whole big thing behind that, is being able to organize these things. It makes you way more efficient, way more effective. It takes the mental bandwidth out of most of these cases, which is crazy because all of a sudden you turn around and you go, I'm feeling like a fucking wizard here. I mean, this is nuts, you know? You don't want to get ahead of yourself, but it's like you almost feel guilty because you're solving complicated, horrible problems without a lot of rumination and overthinking. When you have a well-designed system, you've done that owl work ahead of time, put in all that thought, and all of a sudden you can just let this thing run and you go, okay, well, this person has this and this, and I've already kind of algorithmed out that means they should try this first, and if that doesn't work, they go to this, and you're just guiding them through. And every now and then, you do have to add another branch to those thoughts. You know, you've got to keep this thing alive and tend to it like a garden. But in general, you're never going to be working as hard, you know, as you were beforehand. Because before you have this stuff, it's a scramble. Every single patient, you got to rack your brain, get out the books. Holy shit, is it this, is it that? They've got 3 different patterns. I don't know which one. All of a sudden, bang, it's clean. This is what we have all these updates for in clinical clarity. There's a few really solid trainings in there that you won't be the same after you watch this stuff and internalize it, especially the custom fit shit training, CFS training. It's amazing. Once I started to see this stuff with Eastern medicine, my whole deal changed. Total game changer. So There's one, right? You got to be able to actually deliver something. And then another skill would be packaging it up, creating an offer that makes sense for you and for them, right? So that it's best if you have good cash flow, if you can be getting prepaid for programs that are commitment based, because most of these conditions are longer term conditions. You don't just like wave a magic wand and somebody's chronic fatigue syndrome's gone or whatever else. It's like, oh, I'm treating fertility. Okay, you're pregnant. It doesn't usually work like that. So you need to find ways to structure your programs and your offers, which is part of our specialty here, is so that people understand it's a longer term process, at least a medium term process, and they're bought into that and they're committed to that. Because once somebody's prepaid for annual membership, they're going to do the work, they're going to listen to you. They have a much, much higher likelihood of them listening to you and following your directions and sticking with it long enough to get results than if they just are toe dipping and trying to, oh, I'd like to get a call with you and maybe you could send me some herbs. That kind of model can work, it's okay, but you're never going to get the commitment as when somebody's actually committed, right? Which means they push their chips in. It's important. So all these kinds of things, because what that leads to and how to get really, really good at specialized conditions is you need repeated feedback cycles. You need experience, right? So how do we get repeated feedback cycles? Well, we have to have people in our programs long enough that they can start getting changes so that we can get that input and go, okay, I'm on the right track, or I need to modify my treatment strategy or whatever. If we don't have that information, we never get good. The way to get good is repeated feedback cycles. That's how we build experience, right? Now, experience. I must be in the field for 30 years before I'm experienced. No. You can create the right kinds of structures around your offers. Believe it or not, the business skills will make you a more experienced practitioner. It's fucking nuts, right? But if you build your systems right and you build your offers right and you point yourself at a good niche and a good specialty, you'll get so much feedback and experience that you'll accelerate your growth way more. You can get decades worth of learning done in a year because you've seen so many cases like this and you've had so many feedback loops spin that your subconscious goes, got it. Okay, what's that? We'll work on that. All right, got it. And all of a sudden you now have experience and confidence. And that's the virtuous cycle that then carries through how you present yourself, how you sell, your programs to the next person, because guess what? That person's going to come in and they're looking for confidence. They're looking for experience. They're looking for somebody that can absorb their complexity because they're drowning in it. Their body's betraying them. They can't trust their body. They need somebody they can trust. And you earn that. And one of the ways to earn that is to create your systems. I hope that helps. Get to work.